Hello students, welcome to Ashish Polala classes. Today in the present lecture, I am going to discuss with you the brief facts of Regulating Act of 1773. Why this act was made, it is very important. In the previous video, we had seen how East India Company looted our India as well as British government. So this act was passed by the British government to control and regulate the affairs of East India Company. This act was of a great constitutional importance in the history of India as well as in the history of British government for the following reasons. First of all, I want to repeat, it was the first step taken by the British government to control and regulate the affairs of East India Company in India. Secondly, for the very first time, by this act, the British government recognized what are the political and administrative functions which was carried on by the East India Company in India. And thirdly, by this act, the British government laid down the foundation of central administration of East India Company in India. What were the various features of this act? First feature of this act was it designated the Governor of Bengal as the Governor General of Bengal. And this act also created an executive council in which there consisted four members who assisted the Governor General of Bengal in his function. If in the exam the question is asked who is the first Governor General of Bengal, then the answer is that the first Governor General of Bengal was Lord Warran Hastings, who was appointed through the Regulating Act of 1773. The second feature of this act was that it made the governors of Bombay and Madras presidencies subordinate to the Governor General of Bengal. Here it is very important to mention here that earlier to the passing of Regulating Act of 1773, all the governors, whether it was the Governor of Bombay, Madras and Calcutta, they were independent to one another and no one was inferior or superior to each other. They were equal. But by this act, the Governor of Bombay and Madras presidencies made subordinate to the Governor General of Bengal. Third feature of this act was that it provided for the establishment of Supreme Court at Calcutta. And Supreme Court at Calcutta was established in the year 1774, in which there consisted four judges. One was the Chief Justice of Supreme Court, and there were other three judges. And what was the qualification of the judges of Supreme Court at Calcutta? They were to be the barristers of England or Ireland, and they must have not less than 5 years standing. The Supreme Court at Calcutta was to be the court of record, and it had the original as well as appellate jurisdiction. Now you will ask, what is the meaning of court of record, sir? Court of record literally means a court whose proceedings are recorded and available as evidence of fact. At present, our high courts as well as Supreme Court are the court of record. At that time, Supreme Court at Calcutta was also regarded as the court of record because the proceedings of the Supreme Court was recorded and these proceedings were available as evidence of fact before the lower courts. By this act, it prohibited the servants of the company from engaging in any private trade or accepting present or bribes from the natives. This was the very fantabulous provision in the Regulating Act of 1773 because earlier to this act, the servants of the company were engaging in their private trade and they were also accepting the present or bribes from the Indians. But this act prohibited the servants of the company that they cannot engage in any private trade and they cannot accept present or bribes from the natives. This act strengthened the control of the British government over the East India Company by requiring the Court of Directors, who was the governing body of the company. The Court of Directors were required to report in respect of its revenue, civil and military affairs which was carried in India to the British government time to time. So these were the some salient feature of the Regulating Act of 1773. We are not required to completely study the Regulating Act 1773. These salient features are more than sufficient. Now the question arises whether the Regulating Act of 1773 was more than sufficient for the British government. The answer is that although the objects of Regulating Act of 1773 were very good, but the system that was created by this act was imperfect. There were some limitations in the Regulating Act of 1773. What were those limitations? Those limitations can be said to be the defect in the Regulating Act of 1773. There were basically three defects which was present in the Regulating Act of 1773. First defect in the Regulating Act of 1773 was it did not define clearly the relationship of the Governor General and his council with the Supreme Court at Calcutta. That means to say, it did not define clearly the relationship of the Governor General and his council and the Supreme Court with each other. So it made confusion. Second limitation or second defect in the Regulating Act of 1773 was that although it created the Supreme Court at Calcutta, but it did not make clarification as to what law the Supreme Court was to administer. And third limitation or third defect in the Regulating Act of 1773 was that it placed the Governor General of Bengal at the mercy of his council. That means to say the council can manipulate the Governor General of Bengal according to their own idea. So these were some defect in the Regulating Act of 1773, and this is some brief idea of Regulating Act of 1773. If you like my video, then subscribe my channel and continue watch my playlist of all the lectures of constitutional law. Thank you very much.